Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you for those online that are joining us as well. My name is Ben Gould. I am a middle school science and math teacher at Midtown of Sacramento, California. And the case study I'd like to present to you guys today is American Middle School Youth in Collaborative Tabletop Gaming. So we're going to go on a thought experiment for a moment here. And, feel free to participate if you want or not, totally fine here. I want you to imagine for a moment that you are a member of a small elite squad sent to a desolate planet with a very small nomadic population in pursuit of an elusive enemy fire team. You're given equipment, transport, and enough resources for you and your squad to reach your objective, but no additional support will be given until extraction. Your orders to eliminate the enemy at all costs. Extraction will not be possible until the threat is neutralized. After several days in pursuit, you reach your objective and engage in a harrowing firefight with the enemy. The odds for success are dwindling as well as basic survival. Your victory is slowly reaching your grasp. Suddenly, the ground beneath your feet opens up, and you, your team, as well as that surviving enemy, are plunged into darkness.
Yes, reflection. You probably have to restart because we still see the center mode in the online stream. And probably stop the screen sharing and start it.
Yeah. So stop share. Sounds great.
I don't mind hearing that again.
You ready? Yeah, good. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to click on share. I'm going to go to presentation mode. Let's see if that works now.
Yes, now we see the slide.
Now you see it now?
You want to advance it and then?
Yeah. Okay. So.
Yes, excellent.
Are we there? Really good. Okay, all right. So, as I was saying before, you're a member of the elite squad. You have enough equipment, transport, and resources to reach your objective. Your orders are to eliminate the enemy fire team at all costs. Extraction will only be available once you've completed your task. You get into a firefight. During the firefight, the ground beneath you opens up and you are dropped, you and your enemy, into a cavern. As the dust settles and small light sources from your gear are activated, you realize that you have in fact fallen into some strange underground world. Surrounding you are thousands of sleeping creatures in some form of stasis. This enemy is known to you, and though different from your current core, it could be doomed for anyone and everyone on this planet if they were awakened. If awakened, there will be no way for you and your small force to escape the sleeping enemy without help from that enemy fire team that you were tasked to destroy. What do you do? It's a tough one, right? You start thinking about that. What could you do? I had one student say, I grab grenades, I run, I say for the emperor. I'm like, that's great. Okay, suicide. That's what you do. Okay. But could you do anything else? Could you convince the enemy team that you were just tasked to help you take care of this enemy, the enemy of my enemy? I know we were talking about that yesterday. The enemy of my enemy is my enemy, but in this case, could you do it? And you'd be going against orders if you did. So what happens if there was someone that was on your team that was obligated to follow orders, like a commissar, would tell you that you got to do this or we're going to execute you? What would you do? This is an example of what I would pose to students. I would give them time to think about this. We would write it down. Maybe we would do a group discussion board or something like that. And this is an example of what we in education, when we start looking at thought experiments of how to incorporate something called SEL. Now, if you might have heard of this is because I told them. It's a great book. If you guys have had a chance to read this yet, please do so if you haven't. I got a chance to read it last year. It was awesome, really. By the way, it's the Necrons that they crashed in on, and it's the crew that they were tasked to fight and everything. But this right here, this is a great example of something that we would practice for social and emotional learning. So what is SEL? SEL, or social emotional learning, is the process through which all young people and adults acquire and apply the knowledge, skills, and attitudes to develop healthy identities, to manage emotions, and to achieve personal collective goals, to feel and show empathy for others, to establish and maintain supportive relationships, and to make responsible and caring decisions. It creates a school, family, community, culture, and partnership to establish learning environments and experiences that feature trusting and collaborative relationships, rigorous and meaningful curriculum and instruction, and ongoing evaluation while addressing various forms of inequity, and to empower young people and adults to co-create thriving schools and to contribute to a safe, healthy, and just community. Now, this is something that uniquely American aspect, that the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning, what they call CASEL, was founded in 1994. It was pitched by U.S. Congressman Tim Ryan in 2019 on something known as the SELF-PACT. The purpose of this bill was to create a grant to help support the creation and implementation of a program into schools to help support the development of social and emotional habits. And so far, the SEL initiative, when it was first introduced, it met a lot of opposition. A lot of people worried about there was a lot of left ideology that was proposed. But really, it's been thrust to the forefront for primary school education during the COVID pandemic. It was to address the overt impact that lockdown had on students in developing social and emotional skills. Now, CASEL defines the 5 main components of SEL as self-awareness, the knowledge of one's own emotions and developing a positive self-image. Self-management, the ability to regulate one's own emotions and to monitor one's own behaviors. This also pertains to intrinsic motivations and personal goal setting and so on. Social awareness, the ability to have awareness of the emotions and social situations of others. Relationship skills, the skill to foster relationships and to communicate within them. And last but not least, responsible decision-making, the ability to solve problems and to hold oneself accountable. In a post-COVID world, American education is trying to move forward to catch up with their academic rigor and comprehension to where it was pre-pandemic. Due to this, there's been a lot more focus given to ensure that SEL skills are being adequately developed to ensure that students are acquiring the necessary skills to function in our society as adults, including effective communication, empathic collaboration, adaptability, critical thinking, stress management, and innovative problem solving. So as teachers, we're tasked to implement all this stuff, but that kind of brings us into a situation. How can teachers emulate experiential learning in a safe environment to develop SEL skills, and how can teachers engage students to be passionate about these topics and learning? So this is the school that I work at here. We have about 335 students, 114 of them are middle schoolers, so you're talking 11 to 14 years old. We have a faculty of 55 staff members. I've been teaching there since 2013. I introduced Dungeons and Dragons to middle schoolers since 2014, running lunchtime clubs 3 days a week. I created a student-generated model making elective since 2019. I created summer camp model making enrichment courses for 3rd to 4th graders and 5th to 8th graders, ranging from 10 to 20 students per week for the past 3 years. And I am currently on my 2nd year running an official Games Workshop Warhammer Alliance Club, where I have students meeting in my classroom once a week during lunch to play Warhammer. When I heard about this conference last February, I took a shot, I submitted an abstract. I've been sitting on this mountain of data, student and work experiences, student discussions for the past 4 years, and all of this advising clubs, running a model making electives, summer camp enrichment programs. It made me want to take a look at how tabletop gaming can impact social and emotional development in middle schoolers. I have been learning, but I've been really focused more on project-based learning. And now I'm curious lately on how students can buy in to experience collaboration, storytelling, team strategy, adaptability, community building, empathy, and other social and emotional communication skills that are part of our SEL curriculum in this simulated low-risk, high-reward setting that they would actually be passionate about. Currently, our SEL curriculum is really dry. It lacks experiential opportunities for students to cultivate these skills. And oftentimes, students learn this from a dated book or from a handout, and it's just not the same as experiencing and learning things firsthand. SEL skill development in collaborative tabletop gaming is already happening. There's research that's been gathered in Dungeons and Dragons, especially with this role-playing aspect, and the findings are really compelling. Founding Tenets, How Youth Can Build Social and Emotional Skills for Tabletop Role-Playing Games is a great read. But as of yet, there's been little comprehensive research utilizing specifically Warhammer and its tabletop dynamics of troop movements, as well as the grimdark genre. With school support programming only showing up in the US in the past few years with my own research, I'm excited to share my observations and insights on what I've learned so far. So, formerly known as Warhammer School Clubs, this started getting traction in 2019, was quickly rebranded Warhammer Alliance, offering schools and libraries in North America a free education support program based around the Warhammer hobby. Now, these programs are great. You email someone and they send you an activity pack. These packs are just jam-packed with resources such as activity magazines, paints, clippers, starter brushes, and even a few models. This program also offers educators a treasure trove of curriculum through their teacher guides and additional resources. In a teacher's guide, learning objectives such as process and apply information gathered from informational texts and understanding how history can inspire fictional narratives used in the games of Warhammer are accompanied with curricular connections and personal development goals such as language arts, process informational texts, synthesize information from multiple sources, or mathematics to determine probability, statistics, deriving meaning from data, and where I really focus on personal development, or what in America we call SEL, social emotional learning, decision-making, risk-taking, communication, collaboration, listening, speaking, sportsmanship, giving and receiving feedback, responding to setbacks, which is a big one, and self-regulation. The teacher's guide goes even so far as to list out success criteria for the proposed lessons, ranging from read and understand Warhammer 40K adventure battle plans, rated in this activity magazine, or use probability and statistics, make strategic and tactical in-game decisions to create your very own narrative. What it lacks, which is no fault of its own, is specific success criteria for social and emotional development, which by its very qualitative nature is difficult to establish due to its differentiated nature in individual development. Now, I was first introduced to Warhammer Alliance in January 2020 as kind of a side quest when I was looking at project-based learning for this middle school elective that I was designing called model making. This introduction was through a Warhammer community article, Join the Warhammer Alliance, which was originally published in October of 2019. I signed up. I was very happy to hear from Travis Hazelwood, Games Workshop's community engagement coordinator in North America, who sent me my very first Warhammer Alliance curriculum pack and supplies to help support my newfound interest in Warhammer. I was excited and full of steam as local hobby shops, game companies, and personal donations were giving me traction and resources to create a 15-person project-based learning elective in which students will learn how to build 28mm plastic models, to paint them, to design scratch-built terrain out of foam, and to even learn how to play games that would get students to build interpersonal connections with each other away from screens. And secretly, also allowing my love for board games, my interest in game-based learning. What could go wrong? 2019, 2020, January, February, March of 2020, what could go wrong? Maybe a worldwide pandemic. And yet that still did not stop my interest. In fact, it fed it. I was very fortunate to be working at an Apple Distinguished School at the time, and in just one day, we switched to distance learning. And it kept me employed and my students receiving an education for the rest of the 2020 school year. Yet I was also obsessed with model making and what Games Workshop had sent me. I was creating scratch-made 28mm fencing on staff calls on Zoom, and even ordered the Warhammer 8th edition Dark Imperium launch box. With my macabre state, I was instantly attracted to the Death Guard in that box set, which are just awesome looking models. Now, flash forward to what seems like a fever dream of 2 years. My educational focus has shifted to include social emotional learning, as has many American curriculum. And this educational focus has made me incorporate these skills into my lessons, while also revamping my model making elective to be 100% focused on game systems by Games Workshop, including Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, 40K, and even Warhammer Underworlds. This has given me the ability to create different themed and age-appropriate week-long specialty camps for students, in which they learn how to safely build models, to paint them, and ultimately to play some pretty epic games using the Warhammer Alliance resources as a starting point, especially on the lore and the genre for that week's focus. This past summer, we had younger students building Stormcast Vindicators and Orc Cruel Boys and fighting in the Beast Realm of Gur. And in our older students, they were building Horus Heresy Mark 6 Space Marines and combating Tyranids, as well as each other, on these abandoned Manufactorum worlds. Each genre brings different age-specific conversations of good versus evil, definitions of humanity, ideology, and culture and technology, while also giving us the opportunity of exploring SEL-specific skills as establishing a growth mindset, or identifying and using diverse guiding principles in decision-making, identifying and exploring emotions as well as management strategies, and recognizing and mitigating social conflicts with the opportunities for students to learn conflict resolution strategies in game. As of September 2024, I have successfully advised 6 trimester-long model-making electives, 6 week-long summer camp enrichment courses, and I'm currently on my 4th trimester of running a once-a-week Warhammer Alliance lunchtime club, in which students eat their lunch in my classroom while playing 40K, building or eating models, or viewing Warhammer TV's battle reports, or learning from their master classes. Now, drawing parallels from Dungeons & Dragons, especially Foundry 10's D&D's research, it is apparent that Warhammer Alliance advisors and other facilitators play a crucial role in setting the tone of the table for students to feel confident and willing to try new things. Through explanation and guidance and scaffolding, advisors demonstrate proper etiquette and collaborative skills, while leaving room for exploration and creativity in a shared experience. When I run games, oftentimes I put students together to manage one single army. As a group, it forces them to collaborate. It forces them to strategize together when they make their moves. Interpersonal conflicts being productive SEL skill development lessons is another shared outcome, as many observations of students playing against each other and the conflict resolution of rules, communication, or just sheer luck allow students to practice these SEL skills. Students can also help reflect upon choices and learn from their mistakes. Though unlike D&D, Warhammer students reflect upon choices and inherent values and abilities of different units, adding complexity and advanced forethought and strategy, with the willingness to seek objectives at the cost of lesser units, much like a game of chess. Students who would like to take my model-making elective and explore the hobby aspect of the game are given a syllabus with success criteria stated such as growing technical and engrave-based skills from a range in fine arts, social studies, and mathematical standards, including but not limited to the integration of visual information, personal aesthetics of the natural and constructed world, analysis of characteristics in the form and structure and cultural representations, to compare and contrast histories in different places, and to identify key points in a location's history, all while investigating chance processes and probability models. The expectation from my model making students, because we're taking a course, is to record the process in a digital portfolio, which promotes SEO development skills in a growth mindset and encouragement of rational and responsible decision-making in their course. Now, for my lunchtime non-grade enthusiasts who seek the thrill of the games we play, Warhammer Alliance Code of Conduct, which I adapted from both Games Workshop's Wizard of the Coast and ITC's 2021 Code of Conduct, is given in the form of a Google form every trimester and it's read aloud. These include topics related to the decorum and good sportsmanship, announcing intent of movement, dice rules, and actions, as well as an emphasis on providing a safe, inclusive, and fun environment where friendships are forged at the table. This emphasis is overt to show that everyone has a responsibility to help cultivate and maintain the safe space for which, with inclusivity, is the goal for SEL lessons. At the end of every trimester, a survey is given to students to reflect upon their time spent in the program in the form of another Google form. When asked, what academic skills did you utilize in this club? Students' response included, I used strategies because I needed to analyze distance and line of sight to make proper moves in the game. And I used probability to determine whether a dice roll was in my favor. These responses reflect students' abilities to identify essential skills needed to the game, true, but it also gives educators the inherency of acknowledging recognition and acquisition of responsible decision-making in those specific tasks. Now, when asked on another trimester end survey, what social skills do you think you utilized in this club? Students responded with, I use social interactions because I need to teach people how to play the game and help people who are having a hard time remembering the rules. And I love Warhammer. It was my favorite club in 6th grade. I utilized social skills and I made new friends. Another question asked students to rank their aspects of Warhammer Alliance experience and which one was the most enjoyable. Whether it was playing the game, learning lore and watching battle reports, hobbying, or just hanging out with friends. Both trimesters' results combined, it is apparent that middle schoolers held hanging out with friends equal to, if not higher, than playing 40K on its own. When asked, why did you sign up for this club? What were you hoping for? Responses include, I love Warhammer. I love building models. It's time to paint, build, and models. And I was hoping to hang out with my friends to make and paint models and to play games. Another one said, I signed up for this club because I do this hobby at home already, and I want to play a game with people other than my brother. I was hoping for some time to hang out with my friends in school and to play with my minis there. With these reflections in conjunction with direct observations, it is conclusive that friendship, whether pre-existing or directly from gaming and hobbying, is the highest social motivator for these students. Now, this is not groundbreaking. Any game enthusiast or sports fan will tell you the benefit and the camaraderie that are present in the shared experience. What is fascinating is the fact that middle school students that are constantly being bombarded with social and academic responsibilities, that are being taxed with mountains of homework and a variety of expectations from both teachers and family members, are self-identifying and stating that their relationship with their peers are adding to, if not expanding to their enjoyment of the game that they choose to play on their free time, especially at a time in their lives when cultivation of positive and healthy friendships are so pivotal for their self-image and their self-esteem. These students, by self-identifying the importance of peer relations, by being more willing to cultivate these relationships, and are more willing to take risks once they feel safe to do so. By scaffolding the support structure, advisors could expedite the process to help develop the proper relationship, communication, social skills required to foster a safe and inclusive environment for our students. Now, really quickly, because I know I'm at time here, the last section, and if you're probably following Castle's model on the 5 main SEL components, it's actually the first and arguably the 2 most integral aspects of social emotional learning from the developmental view. Unfortunately, they are the hardest to quantify through this form of game-based learning. The very nature of self-management and self-awareness, to be able to identify and regulate one's own emotions, the positive self-image, and intrinsic goal setting is internal. It's not easily identifiable if no one's willing to talk about it or to share it. Unless educators and advisors are trained to give tools to help cultivate these skills, they may go unnoticed until there is an emotional outburst or reaction in which that by that alone is showing that the student does not have the coping strategies required to emotionally regulate themselves. Conversations and relationships building on mutual trust and respect need to be established for students to open up and ask for help. Advisors and educators need to be role models too, showing students good sportsmanship with handling bad roles, with losses, or, heaven forbid, the accidental drop and breakage of a model. By modeling coping strategies such as mindful breathing techniques, offering areas and activities to overstimulated students to help kind of recenter themselves and to lead open-ended discussions like the one that we started earlier here, we can begin to support these SEL skills in self-management and self-awareness. Setting goals is showing a growth mindset and self-discipline in the hobby, like honing painting skills or even experimenting with a technique and learning from those mistakes can be shared, learned experiences for both advisors and students. Most importantly, celebrating each other's successes and victories helps set the tone for our students. It fosters confidence and empathy, and it just may increase drive and agency for our students. Now, I know I'm at time here, so I'll go through this really quick here. The conclusions are, I need to do more research, right? And I need to look at other research opportunities to gather more data, right? I want to look at the diversity of models. I want to use other factions like Sisters of Battle or Tau or Leagues or Voton. Get away from the Space Marines and the villain of the edition, right? We need to have students that are able to see themselves in the models. And some of those models are way easier for them to see themselves and to improve their self-image than looking at a 7-foot-tall super soldier, right? So being able to kind of diversify the models that I use. Also, I want to look at different game systems. How could giving Kill Team or Necromunda, where students have to make decisions, knowing full well that those decisions could impact their games in 3, 4, or even 5 games down the road, how could that increase their chances? How could that also increase their buy-in and their forethought in what they're doing? Last but not least, I want to take a look at SEL success criteria in the Warhammer Alliance. It's there. I want to build out something a little bit more specific, something a little bit more worded that kind of fits more in line with Castle's 5 main components. Last but not least, and one of the biggest components about being here is networking, having conversations and outreach. What are other people doing in the field? What are other educators doing with Warhammer Alliance? How are we utilizing those tools and those skills to help cultivate SEL skills for our students? Now, I wanted to end on this slide here. I promise you, this is the last one. I know I'm at time here. This is why we're here, right? We each possess a passion for a game that gives us happiness, self-esteem, and a community that shares the passion. By focusing on the interpersonal relationship skills that we have developed through these games, we can foster these experiences for our future generation. We can instill through experiential lessons what we gain and feel and help develop those SEL skills that our students absolutely need. A world to play in, a community to share with, and something that brings us joy. Thank you very much for your time.